you're seeing a lot of albums with way too many tracks on them. But even, I think in some parts, the listener is being conditioned to, you know, just skip around. Which, yeah, I guess I might be like old school in that regard. I'm still trying, you know, I still really care about how an album plays straight through. It's cool though, cause you know, streaming is bringing more money into the industry than, you know, in a long time, and it's that alone is kind of creating more opportunities for artists to blow up and tour and make a living. But I do think some things are being lost just in the art form of really like curating and sequencing an album. Yeah, so you know, Milk is just like a Queens term, some North Side talk. You know, it's really just, I guess it's in a lot of ways how people use drip or sauce or something like that. The way it correlates to the album really is it felt like for the first time I put together something that just fully encompasses all aspects of me, whether sonically or in the content. You know, there's some New York, you know, lyricism. There's some Afro-Caribbean vibes. You know, we sampled FKJ, who does like French electronic music, and you know, we sampled Tom Misch, super dope British singer, instrumentalist. You know what I mean? It's a lot of the influences that I've gathered over the years from traveling. It's just me presenting it in my way, kind of step into my own lane. Maybe not what everyone's used to hearing from me, but just trying to keep pushing the bounds of my creativity. It's hard when you're traveling all over the world and doing shows and trying to recover from that, and then trying to put together, you know, albums and really locking in. But it's also where I drew the inspiration. I'm always gonna try to send Cole one of the best songs that I'm thinking of putting on the album. Because you want him to be mutually inspired. I kind of know what he's into. Cole's not good at hiding his reactions, you know what I mean? If he hears something that he likes, you're gonna know, like, all right, you know, that record was exciting, let's go with that one. Cole almost did front desk on the album. I went down to Carolina and we were working on Tribe, and he switched the drums on it, and it was over after that. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get on this one. Like, do your thing, bro. You go get Thanos on the record, man. You go get all them Infinity Stones, man. Like, why play around? Like, if we're gonna go for it, let's knock it out. I'm just in a space where, like, you know, nothing phases me. Like, you know, I know my fan base pretty much expects that from me at this point. You know what I mean? I'd be letting them down if I didn't try something out the box or, you know, try to keep expanding my sound. It's a wide story. Like, I'm Sudanese American, born in Paris, like spent time in, you know, 4 continents growing up. It's not the most relatable or easiest story to get across, but I wanted to make more of an effort this go around and, you know, showcase more African imagery, even like the artwork. My parents are like, you know, they've been on the western part of the world probably like 40, 50 years now, you know, so they're much more like liberal and progressive with how they move and how they raised us. Some kids I grew up with just were much stricter households. So my parents were cool with it. My mom, her brother and her cousin are like some of the biggest musicians in like Sudanese history. They're like oud players, you know. It's like a string instrument. So she grew up with that in her household. You know, some of my earliest memories is like her and her sister sitting in like the living room, you know, beating on the African drum and like singing songs, you know what I mean? So it was cool. My pops was like, you know, when we all started doing music and dipping on school, he would just look at my mom and be like, it's definitely your side of the family that did this. So, you know, it's all love though. They love it now. My dad hasn't been to a show since like we did The Garden the first time with Cole. And then every time after that, I'm like, yo, I got a show here. He's like, man, I don't need to see any more shows. I went to The Garden. I'm like, all right, you got a good point, yeah. You got a good point. I went to Sudan in December of this past year, 2017. And, you know, we went out to the Nubian pyramids for like 2 or 3 hours from where my mom grew up. And we spent the night out there, like camping out, and we spent the day, you know, just exploring all the ruins and the pyramids. And my cousin took that picture of me, which ended up being the artwork. I realized more and more when I travel, there's a lot of East African kids or Sudanese kids that'll find me and just be like, yo, like, bro, you're really repping for us. You make, you're like all we got. You know what I mean? We've never had nobody like bringing our culture to light. No, I was trying to tell a Queen story. You know, there's a lot of vignettes of things going on, like the couple obviously arguing. There's the homie that kills the other one in the robbery. These are all stories, myself or others that I grew up with. You know, these are the things that go on in the borough. That's why I had the lady in like the traditional Sudanese garb, because one of the things I always had growing up in New York is those roots, you know, and they were kind of always provided like my better nature, kind of grounded me and pulled me out of certain dark moments because, you know, I was raised a little bit differently. I came from that, you know, so that's what she represents in the video. Almost like a healing factor, knowing my identity and like catching myself before, you know, you end up in all these pitfalls. Yeah, I've been on the road for like five, 6 years now. Honestly, coming out on cold stages, it's not like they knew who I was at first, you know what I mean? Like, I was opening the show and I didn't do lit because I would come back out later to do lit. So I had to get through a cool 15 minutes with no lit. So I was like a stand-up comedian up there. I'm like, I'm just gonna rely on my personality. And it won, you know, like I would joke around with the crowd, I would, you know, try, but you know, that's cool because it teaches you stage presence. It teaches you how to rock a crowd that's not your crowd. And I have that kind of fan base that I really built over the years from seeing me a lot and just be like, oh, you know what? Like, I just rock with this dude. I might not know any of these songs, but I'll check them out later. And that's work for me. I had to learn that on that first tour, for sure. And it was like, that tour was funny because by the time you had everyone set, it was literally like 1 foot of stage left in front of you. So you sitting there like just all lateral movement, like you scared to fall off the stage. Like, I want to do a little EP. I got a record with Jid that's more on some aggressive rap. I got a record with Kaz that's like that too. So I'm finishing up this Earth Gang record. You know, I want to bring all the homies out when I go on tour. One way or another, it'd be cool. I don't want to come back if I come back doing the same thing.